Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. We're going to do our Mama June Road to Redemption recap. This is the episode where Mama June signs away custody of Alana over to Pumpkin. And in this episode, Mama June had no idea that she was going to be sprung with these paperwork, this document stating that she would no longer be Alana's parent, that legally she would not be considered the parent, that it would be Pumpkin. She had no idea this was going to happen. She thinks they're just enjoying their time in Vegas, and they spring this on her, and it's kind of a big deal. And we see her, realizing what's happening, and her wheels kind of turning of like, oh my goodness, like this is happening. Like I'm not going to be considered Alana's mom. A lot of people, legally, obviously, biologically, she would still be considered the mom, but a lot of people have stated that they felt the reason that June held on to Alana for so long was because Alana was her money, her cash cow, essentially. A lot of people made comments saying, well, she's not going to give over custody because that's how she makes money as well. During this episode, I wondered, like I was sitting there watching her trying to think, like, what's she thinking? Is she considering that? Is she considering, like, well, moving forward, I'm not going to make money off Alana anymore. That will be Pumpkin, who I think rightfully so. The money should go to Alana, a trust for Alana, and then Pumpkin, obviously, decisions go to Pumpkin versus as Mama June. Now, when Mama June was given this opportunity to be on The Masked Singer, Mama June and Alana, they went to June to ask for Alana. They didn't go to Pumpkin, despite the fact that Pumpkin had been taking care of Alana for like 2.5 years. June finally did something for Alana. Exactly. Hey, everyone coming into the chat. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to give you guys a full recap really quick, and then we will discuss what went down in this episode. So we're picking back up. The girls, they are in Vegas. Everyone seems to be having a good time, but it's on their mind. It's on Pumpkin's mind. She knows at some point she's going to have to spring this paperwork on June, so it's been stressful for her. Also, this is the episode where Pumpkin does admit that she is in fact pregnant. So they are in Las Vegas, and Mama June decides to book them an appointment with this salon that does your hair, your makeup. They put you in these fancy outfits, and it's called, it caters to bigger women, which I thought that was really cool, that they actually have places that like will cater to specific body styles. So they go to this place. It's called Baby Doll Beauty Couture, and it is run by a lady named Jamie. She is the CEO of the company. She's a very beautiful lady. And all the ladies that work there, they are heavier set ladies, but all of them are beautiful. Like the clothes that they have is beautiful. Their makeup, down to like their glasses. Like their glasses are even stylish, So they go in and they're welcomed. The women are like, we're big fans. Like we watched the show. Thank you guys for coming here. And they kind of tell them what's going to happen. Like, okay, we're going to make you guys fancy. We're going to give you guys hair extensions. We're going to do your lashes. You guys are going to be fancy. And it was just a really cool thing for June and the girls to do together, for them to go and hang out in this little salon and get their hair done and get their makeup done and really be pampered. Pumpkin even said that she was happy to get this done because she's like, I'm 21, I'm a 21-year-old mom, and I always feel like a 21-year-old mom. But after this, I can feel like I'm 21 and sexy again, So they go in, they get everything set up, they're welcomed, and they start looking for outfits to wear. They have a lot of nice little dresses and everything. We see them try to figure out what they're going to wear. Mama June goes with this little pretty blue ensemble. Jessie, she goes with a red outfit, and Pumpkin goes with a black and silver outfit. And they try the outfits on, but then they sit down to get their makeup done. And as they're sitting there, of course, they're talking to the ladies and doing their makeup. And one of the ladies that's doing Pumpkin's makeup is asking about Alana, like, oh, I still consider Alana, like when I think of her, I think of like Honey Boo Boo, little girl. She's like, no, she's grown up. She's got her boyfriend. And they're talking about Alana. They all get hair extensions. Let me tell you guys, they look beautiful afterwards. They look so good. Mama June sits down with this lady, Jamie, who is the CEO, and June asked her, like, what made you decide to do this? What gave you the idea to make a place that caters to bigger women? And she said, well, I am a makeup artist. I've been a makeup artist for years, but working in the makeup industry, I was discriminated against because I was so heavy. Like, people didn't want this woman doing their makeup just because she was heavier. Like, it's crazy. So she says, essentially, it was like she went into a depression and she became homebound. She said, I didn't leave my house for 2 years because it upset her so much, for people to not want her to do their makeup just because of her weight. So she's telling June this, and this is resonating with June. You guys can tell, like, the look on June's face. It's really hitting her, and she's feeling compassion for this woman. That this woman become a makeup artist, follows, her passion to do makeup, and then she can't get a job because people are discriminating over the fact that she's a heavier set woman. And June, who once weighed like 550 pounds, this resonates with her. So she's listening to this woman, and the woman's telling the story, and the woman says, I got to where I was 800 pounds when I was at home all the time. I didn't leave my house for 2 years. I got to 800 pounds. And then I decided I needed to get up and I needed to make a change. Like, the only person that's going to do anything for you is you. She said she got up and she went back to work, and she started doing what she could to lose weight. Destiny, no, I haven't seen it, babe. I'll have to check. I'm so behind on my emails, you guys. If you've emailed me, I've just been working so hard on the Marvin McCray story that I'm just so behind. But I will check it tonight. So, she tells June, she says, I made the decision just to get up and work on myself. And June asks her, she says, have you ever thought about getting like the gastric sleeve done? And she says, yes, I actually have. I went to the doctor. They told me that I had to get under 500 pounds before they would do it. But she tells you, she says, I'm there. I'm under 500 pounds now, but now I'm wondering, do I want to continue losing weight myself, or do I want to get the sleeve? And June tells her, she says, you know what? I was over 500 pounds one time at my heaviest. I got the gastric sleeve, but I had to lose like 150 pounds to get the gastric sleeve. After I got the gastric sleeve, I got down to like, I think she got down to like 125 or something. She got down really slender. And she says, after getting sober, she's obviously gained a lot of weight again, and now she's considering getting the sleeve again. But she tells Jamie, she says, when you get the sleeve, it is hard because you can't eat a lot. You have to eat like shakes at first, baby food. So it is really difficult to go down that road. But in a confessional, Mama June says, by meeting Jamie and hearing her story, it really makes her realize, like, no matter what her weight is, she can always be a positive person, and she can always try to influence other people to be positive people. And that's what Jamie said, that her goal is no matter like what your weight is she wants to be a positive influence on other people, and tell other people, no matter what's going on in their life, they can be a positive person and they can do good things. So that really resonated with June, and that was a really good story to hear them talking about that, talking about how their weight has affected them and what they go through being so heavy. But still, she was so positive. This woman was so positive. And you guys, she literally was a makeup artist, got shunned in the makeup industry because she was heavier set. So she, after 2 years of like a depression, she bounced back and she opened her own salon. And she tells you, she says, what makes me so happy is to look around and to see that the goals that I had, the goals that I envisioned have come to life. And now I have Mama June sitting in my store, like you and your daughters. Like, what? So that's awesome that after going through everything that she went through, she has her own salon, and it's on TV, being featured on Mama June, and Mama June and Pumpkin and Jessie are sitting in her store. So that's awesome that she's there. You know what I'm saying? After that, they have their hair and their makeup done, and you guys, let me see if I can find the. Look at Jessica. You guys, look at Jessica. What? Look at her. Oh my goodness. Like, I think Jessica is naturally like pretty, but I think makeup just kind of like brings out, it accentuates your already what you have. Oh my goodness. Destiny, we've thought about it. I am going on a family vacation with not my whole family, but the women in my family are going on a vacation in September, and I actually thought about vlogging that and like introducing you guys to like my family. So maybe one day. I try to be a little bit private with my kids because I've had people like kind of like attack my kids and talk crap about my kids. So, but we'll see. So their makeup was bomb.com. Jessie looked so good. Pumpkin looked so good. They all just look so good. So June goes inside. I'm actually going to set this so hopefully we don't get in too much trouble with showing some of the scenes. Well, let's back this up a little bit. Where are we going? Where are we going? All right. So the girls go try on all of their dresses, and like I said, June had this little blue ensemble that she picked out, and it looks so good. This is June. Okay, June, I want to see Jessie and Pumpkin because they look so good. All right, there's Jessica. I want to go back and see if I can find like this, like a better shot of Jessica. Here we go. Let's look at Jessica. Look at her. Look. And Jessica says, she says, in this red dress, like, I feel like I'm on top of the world. And I'm like, girl, I know you do. I know you do. And then we have Pumpkin. Let's take a look at Pumpkin. Keep in mind, she is pregnant here, you guys. Nobody knew. Let me back that up really quickly because that went by way too fast. Look at Pumpkin. You guys, them girls, they did the dang thing. Like, they dressed them up. They had hair. Oh, and then look what the woman says. So the woman says, Pumpkin, as good as you look, you're going to go home and you're going to make another baby. And June says, no, she just had a baby. But what we didn't know is she was pregnant. She does. She comes out with this later on. But yeah, we didn't know that she was, in fact, pregnant. Now, back home, we have Josh. He's taking care of the kids. Yeah, like despite their weight, they look so good. Um, so back at home, Josh is taking care of the kids. Alana and Draylon just come in from a walk, and she's talking to Pumpkin and Josh, and he's like, "Where you guys been?" And she's like, "Oh, we went for a walk, but I think I'm gonna go down to my room to study." And he's like, "Yeah, you guys going to study? Like really study?" And she's like, "Yes, Josh, we're going to study." So they go downstairs and to study, which it does look like they went to go study. Let's see. They go to study. So Josh is like, Ella, do you really think they're going down there to study? And she's like, no. Ella is so cute. She's so smart. I swear she's like the new Honey Boo Boo. Like Ella could have a show just around her because she's so stinking cute. So Josh is like, Ella, do you think they're going to study? And Ella's like, not at all. They're going to kiss. Ella's like, they are going to kiss. Hey, Taylor, I'm doing good. So he's like, you think they're going to kiss? She's like, yeah. So I think they're going to kiss. So Josh says, listen, Ella, I'm going to need you to be like my little spy. Sneak down there, be super quiet, and spy on them. If they kiss, you come tell. He calls himself Dada. Dada. He's like, you come tell Dada if they're kissing, right? So Draylon and Alana, they are down there, and she is studying. He's like, what are you working on? And she's like, I'm working on math. Can you help me? And he's like, no, I'm not good at math. And here goes little Ella. Look at y'all. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my god, that's so. Look at little Ella. She is literally so cute. Hold on. Let me back it up. I love it. I love how cute Ella is. I just can't. He's like, go spy on me, okay? She's like, sure thing, Dad. I got you. He's like, super quiet. She's like, sure thing, bud. Watch her tiptoe, you guys. I can't take it. It's too cute. He's like, nice and slow, Ella. She's like, I got you. what's so crazy is she sneaks down there, tiptoeing, but then she gets in the room and she screams. This is her in front of the camera. She gets in the room and she's like, ah! She steals their chips. I can't take it. She steals their chips and then turns around and walks out and says, bye, losers. She says, bye, losers. Look, he says, did she just say bye, losers? And Alana's like, yep, she sure did. She goes back upstairs, you guys, and she tells Josh, she says, they were kissing. She goes upstairs, she's like, Dada, they were kissing. That's what they were doing, they were kissing. And he's like, what? He says, you saw them kissing with your own two eyes? She was like, yeah, I saw them kissing. So he's like, oh, heck no. So he gets up and he goes down there. And when he gets down there, you guys, let me see if I can find the picture. When he goes down there, this is what he sees. He opens the door and they're like this. Like, Draylen's like looking at it, trying to, whatever. And he's like, whoa, what are you guys doing? And they're like, nothing, we're not doing nothing. We're just studying, Alana's like, what are you looking at? Like, why did you just bust off up in here like this? And he's like, well, I was told that you guys were down here kissing. And they're like, no, we're not down here kissing. He was like, well, I may have gotten some bad information. And Ella's like, ha, 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 laughing because she knows she lied. She knows she told a story. And Alana's like, oh my gosh, Josh, you're ridiculous. Like, get out of here. She then tells Josh, she's like, if I would have wanted to kiss Draylen, I would have kissed Draylen on our walk that we was on before we came back to the house. Like, I'm not going to kiss him in the house where I got spies or anything. Like, I could have did it on the walk. So he was like, did you kiss him on the walk? And she's like, he's like, yeah, well, no more walks for you. If you want to get healthy, you can get healthy inside on a treadmill. You're not going on any more walks. And then they actually do kiss. It was kind of, they actually do kiss. There it goes. And it was kind of funny. Just a little peck, Now, back over in Vegas, listen, this particular episode made me smile, made me laugh, and also made me tear up. I'm not going to lie, you guys. Watching June get served, I'm not going to lie. The look on her face, I felt for her. I really did. And, I've been a huge June supporter past few weeks. I've kind of been not that big of a supporter, more like I want her to get her crap together and stop, farting around. But I am normally a June supporter, but this really did, hurt my feelings to watch this episode. Now, back in Vegas, they're in this really fancy, smancy restaurant, literally. June's like, I think I'm going to get the lobster with, the lobster? The lobster with mac and cheese. And Pumpkin's like, Mom, that's $150. The lobster with mac and cheese is $150. She's like, that is a grocery bill. No, you don't need to do that. So she ends up not getting the lobster with the mac and cheese. But if their lobster mac and cheese was $150, guaranteed that pasta that she got was probably pretty daggum expensive as well, right? So anyways, when they're at dinner, June insists that they get drinks. She's like, why don't you girls get some drinks? And Pumpkin's like, no, I don't want to drink. I got to be the responsible one tonight. I don't want to drink. Jessica decides she's going to get her a drink. When the waitress comes to take their order, she orders 3 freaking meals. Pumpkin does. She orders a lot. And Mama, June, and Jessica, they're just kind of like, what the heck? So after they order, once again, June's like, Pumpkin, you really should get you a drink. Pumpkin's like, no, I'm not. And she was like, you've ordered all kind of food. You're refusing to drink. What's the deal? What's the deal? Are you pregnant? And she's like, no, I'm just trying to be responsible. One of us got to be responsible while we're here. And let me see if I can find it where they bring Jessica the drink. Here it is. They bring Jessica this, oh my gosh, this huge drink. Look at that. Huge drink. And she's like, they try to get Pumpkin to drink it. They're like, Pumpkin, if you're not pregnant, why don't you drink this drink? And she's like, because I just don't want to. I don't want to drink. You guys are not going to make me drink. Then June is like, if you're not pregnant, how about we get some shots? So she calls the waitress over and she's like, we need some shots. And Pumpkin's like, no, ma'am, we don't need no shots. Cancel it. She's being ridiculous. Waitress walks off. And they're both like, what is the deal? You're refusing to drink. Like, what's going on? And Jessica says, Pumpkin, are you really pregnant? And you, like, literally didn't tell me. Jessica is really bothered. She's like, are you seriously pregnant? You didn't tell me? And Pumpkin's like, that was Pumpkin. She was like, whoop. So she has to tell him. She's like, yes, I'm pregnant. And June's like, are you freaking kidding me? June even said, like, what are you going to do? Like, what are y'all going to do? And she was like, well, we're going to take care of it. We're going to do what we always do, you know? And she says, Bentley is only 5 months old. Like, why would you get pregnant right now? Like, why would you get pregnant so soon after having Bentley? And Pumpkin said, well, really, it's your fault, June. I got pregnant when we had COVID. And listen, Josh looked like he was about to die when he had COVID. So I am applauding that man that he could do that on his deathbed. Like, holy moly. Also, when I had COVID, no. There was we were not doing the grown up when I had COVID because I was literally on my deathbed. But she did say, she said that she was actually supposed to go get her birth control when she got COVID. So she had to go several weeks. I think they had it for like a week, and then you have to do like 2 weeks after you have it. You know, so it was 3 weeks. She wasn't on birth control, and she's like, listen, June, I got pregnant because you, had I not gotten COVID and I would have been able to go get my birth control, this probably wouldn't have happened. And once again, though, June is like, I just can't believe that. Like, what are you going to do? And she tells Pumpkin, she says, I don't know why you just weren't honest about it. Like, why lie? Why weren't you just honest? And Pumpkin's like, I know you don't want to talk about being honest because you're never honest. Then June orders, she calls the waitress back over, and she's like, I want the biggest thing y'all have on the menu for dessert because we're celebrating. What they had on the menu for dessert was like $100, you guys. That's a bathtub. June ordered a bathtub full of ice cream, Cool Whip, donuts, sparklers, cones upside down. Like, look at that bathtub, you guys. And Pumpkin made a comment to Josh that cost like $100. And she's like, congratulations, Pumpkin. And Pumpkin's like, shut up. She's like, listen, y'all have to keep this a secret. Nobody knows yet. I really don't want you guys telling anybody. And June's like, I'm not going to tell anybody. And she's like, sure you won't, mouth of the South. You tell everybody everything. But literally don't tell nobody. Josh didn't want nobody to know. So, like, we literally can't tell anybody. And she says, I'm going to have to call my husband now and tell him that I had to tell you two doofuses. So he's probably going to be irritated that you guys know now. Now they call it a night. They go back to their rooms. And when they get back to the room, June has a voicemail from her then manager, Gina Rodriguez. And Gina's telling her, hey, listen, I got you and Justin an appointment in LA, like for him to get his teeth done and for you to have a consultation to get the gastric bypass surgery again. So you guys got to get out here in a couple of days. So she calls Justin and she tells Justin, like, I got good news. Gina got us set up with a good dentist for you to get your teeth done. Now, everybody has been like, June got Justin new teeth. And Pumpkin and Alana on a TikTok live, they were like, June did not get Justin new teeth. June did not pay for the teeth. Nobody paid for the teeth. The teeth were free. It's part of like a sponsorship type situation. Justin, it'll be on the show. Surely the name of the company, we'll see that on the show. So they get a little bit of advertisement from being on the show. Justin will probably talk about it as well, and they do it for free. So while June did not pay for it, had it not been for June, he would have been able to get the teeth. So anyways, he's like, listen, she's like, I'm going to have to come home in a few days, and we got to get out to LA to get the teeth done. Now, back over in the hotel room, Pumpkin has to call Josh and tell Josh that she spilled the beans, essentially. Now, when she first calls, though, it's a FaceTime call. And Josh answers, and he's like, "Oh, don't, you look all dolled up, like, what are you all dolled up for?" And she's like, "Oh my goodness, um, Mama took us to this place that like caters to bigger women, and they like gave us these fancy dresses, and look at my boots." She's like, "Well, look at there," and he's like, "Oh yeah, you look beautiful." And then she says though, but like afterwards we went to dinner, and Mama was like blowing money. She wanted to spend $150 on this mac and cheese, this lobster and mac and cheese. She also spent like $100 on the dessert, and he's like, "Of course, June just blowing money with no regard. One day she's going to run out." And she also has a daughter. Like, despite the fact that her daughter don't live with her, she could financially help out. So Pumpkin's like, "Listen, they tried to pressure me to drink, so I ended up having to tell them that I was pregnant." And she said, Mama basically said, "Well, what are you going to do now?" And Josh made the comment, "What we're going to do is we're going to take care of your kids, and we're going to continue to take care of our kids." Hey. um, so anyways, Josh tells Pumpkin, he says, "Listen, I was talking to Dodo the other day, and she mentioned child support. So I started doing a little bit of research to see like if we are entitled to child support, if June is supposed to pay child support." And all the research that I'm doing says that yeah, even though like she lives with us, June is still like she's entitled to help us financially. So Pumpkin says, "Well, call the lawyer, set up an appointment, so one of us can go in and we can talk to the lawyer about setting this up for child support." And Josh does say, he says, "You know what? I don't want anything from June as far as for me, but now that we're bringing in another baby, she could help us a little bit." He's like, "Alana's expensive. She's a teenager. She wants clothes. She wants nails. She gets eyelashes. She wants makeup. Now she's dating, so she wants to go and do things with her boyfriend. She's going to have college pretty soon. So I don't want a darn thing from June. But legally, she is responsible. She should help us." Oh, goodness. Kennedy is asleep. That's not good, Sean. So he's like, "I don't want anything from her, but she should help us." Tiny Treasure, which is it, email or is it because I haven't checked anything yet as far as like my emails or Facebook messages, because that Marvin McCray story, for I've been spending days on it, you guys, so I'm just now kind of getting back into everything else. So they decide they're going to go talk to the lawyer. All right, so here we are at the lawyer's office. Josh goes to meet with the lawyer. He sits down with the lawyer and he says, "Listen, we don't know how much she makes, but we do know the amount of money that she's spent on men. We know the amount of money she spent on drugs. They're in LA right now, Las Vegas right now, and she's spending, hundreds of dollars on desserts. So she has the money to help us." And the lawyer says, "Oh yeah, no doubt. She has the money to take care of y'all. Financially, she is able, and legally and morally, she is supposed to. So leave it to me. We will get that taken care of. We will make sure that she helps you guys take care of Alana." And that's kind of the gist of the meeting. He tells her, "Don't worry about it. We got it. We're going to make sure you guys get some help." Now, back in the hotel, Pumpkin's kind of stressed out because it's like their last day in the hotel, and she needs to get. "Okay, Tiny Treasure, I'll check my Facebook Messenger. Thank you. I'll check it." So she's stressing. She's like, "Man, I got to get these papers signed. But she's like, "We got to get someone that can notarize it as well. Like when Mama signs it, we got to have someone that's witnessing her sign it that can notarize it." And production says, "Well, we can do that. We can get a notary here for you guys. When do you want us to do it?" And she's like, "Right now. Once a notary gets here, I'll go ahead and call June in and we'll get the ball rolling with this." "Yes, you do. You better go ahead and sleep, Sean." So after they get in touch with the notary, they get June to come into the room. And when June walks in, she's like, "Pumpkin, like, what's the deal? What's going on? What do you want?" She knows something is up. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Watching this, I felt for June. I literally felt bad for June. I'm not even gonna lie. Let me make sure I got my notes up, because there's certain things I want to make sure that I say. So once June is in the room, Pumpkin tells June that the custody stuff needs to be redone, that it is time for them to revisit that situation. And she wants June to give Alana to her permanently. And this is kind of June. She's telling June, like, it does. She's like, it doesn't mean you can't see her. And she actually reads some of the statements that Alana made. It's like Alana had to write here that she does in fact want to live with me. So she reads it. At 16 years of age, would prefer to continue living with my older sister. Blah 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 blah. And it says, but it does say in here that she wants to be able to see you. Like she still wants to visit with you. Nothing's going to be any different legally. She's just going to be mine. I can make medical decisions. I can make decisions about her school. Like rather than having to go through you now when half the time we can't even get in touch with you. Like you're gone half the time. You just now even moved back to the state. Before that, we likely did not know where you were. And if something happened with Alana and she needed to go to the doctor, we would be, SOL because we wouldn't know how to get, we wouldn't know where you were and half the time we weren't answer the phone. So this just keeps stuff like that from happening. Like if something happens, I am her legal guardian. And that's what this says. I'm not trying to make it to where you can't see her. You'll always be able to see her. Oh, exactly, running Grey Wolf for sure. Sherry, I've heard things. I've heard things. So she's just explaining it. Like I said, she goes over what's said, and June's just kind of sitting there, and I'm watching June, and I'm trying to see like what her thoughts are, which you can't really read anybody's mind. But I am wondering if she's thinking, well, as much as this is going to hurt me, this might be in the best interest, or is she thinking how this is going to affect her money? Because, like I said, a lot of people do think that June has held on to Alana for so long for certain reasons. You know what I'm saying? Um, Running Grey Wolf, I'm not saying that she's not sober or that she is sober. And the reason why I say that is because when I had Jordan McCullum on, he said that when him and June lived together, that when June was gone one time, he suspected that there was, and he was a recovering addict as well, that he suspected there was an issue. So he actually went and looked in June's room and he found certain things in her dresser. And he called her and he said, this is what I just found in your dresser. And she said it wasn't hers. And he said, well, I'm going to call the police and have them bring the dogs out here to raid this house because I'm a recovering addict. I think he's like on probation and stuff. He can't have that. And she basically was like, if you call the police and have them raid my house, you will never talk to me again. Do not do that. Also, seeing June on TikToks for literally like 10, 12, 3 days straight has definitely made me wonder. I'm not saying she is. I'm not saying she isn't. There are people that will say, oh, I'm a recovering addict and I can tell you now she's not sober. I'm not going to go that far because I can't say that, but I do have concerns. So if anybody hears me say like, oh, we don't know, I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. I hope she's sober. It was in her dresser drawer. It wasn't just in her room, but it was in her dresser drawer in her room. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is uh, Doctor, the doctor they have on the show with them, I forget his name. It literally just slipped my mind. But he said that relapse is a part of recovery. I'm not going to go that far because I know people that have recovered without relapse. Do I think it happens and it's common? Sure. Do I think it is absolutely positively everybody's story when you become an addict, you're gonna relapse? No, I don't think that's Dr. Ish. I don't think that's what happens for every person. I do know there are people out there that become an addict and they are able to recover and they are able to be sober and stay sober the rest of their life. But people do relapse. And if Mama June did at one point and she's sober now again, it wouldn't be completely abnormal. Would it be something that she might be ashamed of? Sure, and I can understand that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. It is Dr. Ish. That is who I was thinking about, you guys, Dr. Ish. Okay, so she's just telling her, for different reasons of why this would be the best route to take. June says that she feels like Right. Exactly, running gray wolf. June says that she feels like she was kind of slapped in the face with this. She was like, we were having such a good time. Like, we were making really good memories. And I just wish you would have did it any other time than like now, because the memory of their Vegas trip is probably going to be, is not going to be as great, because now she's going to have the thought also of like, well, this is when I signed up for custody of my daughter, you know? So she said, I feels like this was kind of slapped in the face with this, and I wish she would have waited and done it some other time, not while we were on this trip, having kind of like the time of our lives. And she did say that she felt like no matter what, her past always comes back to bite her in the butt. And she feels like this is a like punishment for her past. Um, yes. June tells Pumpkin that she moved closer, hoping that they could have like a new start, a new beginning, prove herself to them. And obviously, she's said several times, I got a 4 bedroom house. So Alana can move back in with me one day. So I do think that was her plan, maybe, is prove to them that I'm doing better and eventually get Alana back. So this is her basically finding out, well, that's definitely not going to happen. Like, no matter how good you're doing, Alana will continue to live with me and I will be her legal guardian if you sign these papers. June makes a comment saying, "Well, like you have to have these have to be notarized. So like, I can't really sign these because it have to be. I have to sign them in front of a notary, you know." And Pumpkin says, "Well, actually, we already got that handled. Like, production has seen to it that we're going to be able to do this. They found a notary that will get this done. That will come in right now and notarize this." And June's kind of shocked, like, "What? Really? Like, dang, you guys have been planning this." And that's what she tells them. She's like, "So you this has been the whole trip. Like the whole trip, you knew about this?" And she's like, "Yeah, we did." So they call the notary. The notary comes in, and it's still like not certain when the notary comes in if June is even going to sign. Like we don't know. We don't know if June's going to sign when the notary comes in. June seems a little bothered that like production was kind of in on this. So he tells June, he says, "Listen, do you plan on signing this right now?" And she kind of hesitates, and finally she says, "Yeah, I guess so." So he says, "Well, these are court documents, so I have to swear you in." So they have to do the whole, "Do you tell the truth?" Whatever, you know. So she says yes, and he has her sign the documents. And because she's blind though, she can't really see where to sign. So Jessica has to show her where to sign, and she signs them. And in the background, you guys can see in the background, Pumpkin looks pretty happy. I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Pumpkin definitely didn't think that it would be this easy to get June to do it. So in the background, she is, you see her, you guys see Pumpkin. She's like, ah, as June's signing the documents. And in this confessional, June essentially says, you know, I'm doing this to prove that I want what's best for everybody by signing these documents. If this is what Alana wants, like if Alana wants to live with her sister, if Pumpkin wants to continue raising her, then I'll sign these papers to prove to them that I want to do what's going to make everybody happy, and I want to do what is in the best interest of everyone. So I hope that this proves to the girls that I'm willing to do what's best for everyone. So she signs the paperwork, the guy notarizes it, and everyone is happy. Mama June, I think well, not happy. I think Mama June, this kind of hits hard for her, but she says, you know, she wants to do what's going to make everybody happy, what's going to be easy for everyone, and that's what she does. So after that, Pumpkin says, listen, it's kind of been a long day. We have to leave later, so why don't we all get some rest before we have to leave? We'll meet you in the lobby before checkout. So June leaves, and they decide to call Lana. They're like, call Alana. She's so happy. She's like, okay, I'm going to call her. And she's like, oh my gosh, she signed the paper. And Alana's like, no way. Alana did not think that June was going to sign the paper. She said several times, she says, I don't think she's going to sign the paper. There's no way. When she sees it in black and white, she's not going to sign the paper. So when she calls, she's like, oh my gosh, she signed the paper. She's like, what? Really? Alana is very happy that she signed the paper. And Pumpkin's like, so what are you gonna call me now? Mama P. And Alana's like, no, I'm gonna call you Pumpkin. And she was like, oh, I can't wait to get home because we're gonna have a mommy and daughter day. And she like Alana laughs. And they do have a little bit of surprise for Alana. So they got these um fake tattoos, like airbrush tattoos. And Jessica got one, Pumpkin got one, and Alana's gonna have one. And it's like I think it's like a heart, and each person has a piece to complete it. So while in Vegas, Pumpkin already got hers on her arm, Jessie got hers on her arm, and they're gonna bring the middle piece home for Alana to get done. And she's like, "We got a surprise for you." And then she says, maybe when Alana gets older, we'll actually get this like real tattoo, just to kind of show like no matter what, we're always family. But she says, "I'm so glad that we were able to do this because no matter what, she will always have a family now. Like she's not gonna have to worry about anybody turning their back on her. Like we are always her family." And that's what it was, you guys. That is the episode. And like I said, there were points of this episode that I laughed. There were points that I smiled. And there were times that I got teary eyed. And I felt bad. Like I legit felt bad for June. I'm not going to lie. But I felt like she did the right thing, So yeah, that is the episode. What's everyone's thoughts? Did I hear that from you that she didn't pay? The same thing with Justin. Wait, what? Now when Pumpkin went live on her TikTok a few weeks ago, Mama June's first child support payment was on May 1st. Since then, we've had June and July come through. What Pumpkin did say on her TikTok, this was in June. She said, Mama has kind of bugged me when it comes to the payments. Like, yes, she paid, but she wasn't happy about paying. Like, yes, she paid her child support, but she wasn't happy about it. So, oh yeah, she can definitely become a nurse one day. I mean, I have a friend who got pregnant young, like 17. She has 4 kids, 3 kids, and she was a single mom in nursing school. It took her a very long time. It took her like almost twice as long as most people, but that was because she was a single mom. She was working and, raising her kids on her own. But it's possible. Now she does really good. Show some love by hitting that like button. Thank you so much, Running Grey Wolf. Thank you. But I was nervous for this episode. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Oh, is June gonna sign the paperwork?" Pumpkin has even said in confessional. She said this may destroy my relationship with my mom. Like I don't know how she's gonna take this. Is this gonna cause us problems? Is this gonna ruin it? Like we don't know how this is going to affect my relationship with my mom. But she says essentially what I got to do is what's best for Alana, and what is best for Alana is for me to have custody. What we're going to see on next week's episode, more than likely, is child support. I think that's what we're going to be looking at next week is June finding out that they're going to get child support from her. Why is Mama June paying child support? Because she doesn't have Alana. And usually that's the way that it works. Usually when one parent has the child and they're taking care of the child, the other parent contributes. Sugar Bear doesn't contribute because he signed over his rights, from my understanding. Pumpkin even said that this time. She said we need to revisit the custody situation. We need to make it more permanent. And she says, I don't need Sugar Bear's approval this time. And I'm thinking, I heard that he signed over his rights. So I guess that's why. But, I have 2 kids from my last relationship. And their dad doesn't pay child support, but he's supposed to. He has a handful of times. But it is set up through the court system and he just doesn't pay. But that is a legal right. I do agree that Sugar Bear should be paying. So the way that it works, like in Louisiana, I think he did because I heard him say he needed to write her ID card down on his information. So we probably didn't see all of that. Like when he came in, he did say, this is a court document, so I have to swear you in. And then I heard him say, I have to have your ID number to write down on my documents. So there's probably where he did write all that down that we didn't see. But I did hear him ask about that and say that. I'll take off the post I put. Okay. I'm trying to find it. What's the LBO7, Sherry? What is that, babe? I'm not sure. Is that one? Did I just do the right one? Wait, I think I did the wrong one. I actually, so where we live, I've actually been told that the child support place where we live is like the worst about getting these men to pay. One time I went after years and years and years of not receiving anything, and I actually spoke to like my caseworker's boss because my caseworker was out for like maternity leave or something. And I was talking to my caseworker's boss, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, your case hasn't been handled in for like ever." And I was like, "Yeah, clearly." She was like, "This is what she told me." She said, "Oh, okay, okay." She said, "When we have a case, if we don't get the dad's place of employment, like if we can't find the information out, if the mother doesn't know that information, we run credit checks every so many months to see if a new job has showed up on his credit, a new address, phone number, anything that could tell us where he's working." So when they run that credit check, if it says, okay, he's working at so and so, and that was done on 2 months prior, then they call the job and they verify it through a telephone call. "Hey, we're trying to verify employment for so and so." And they say, "Yep, he's working here." And they said, "Okay, well, we're going to be sending you a judgment for child support order. You should get it in such and such amount of days. You have 10 days to return it." Well, my caseworker wasn't working it at all. So, and I think 6 months with no payment, if they have no job employment, is when they're supposed to run that credit check. Mine hadn't done it in years, if at all. Like, she was just like, "Oh my God, your caseworker is not working your case." And I'm like, "You're telling me." So, yeah, now he's not in the position to where he can pay child support, you guys. I'm not gonna go into where what he is, but I've never been too hardcore on him paying. If me and Sean financially could do we do it. Sean doesn't. He doesn't have a problem with it. Now, when Sean got laid off and we were struggling and we were living on our savings and he couldn't find a job, we did ask him to help, and that's when I actually set him up for child support through the state because we asked him nicely, like, "Hey, do you think you can help? Sean's laid off. We have all these kids, like." And he actually had a really good job at the time, and he was dating this girl that had like 6 kids, and he was taking her and her kids to the fair and to the zoo and bought him a new truck and la di da di da, and like would come and get my kids to take them along with him and his girlfriend and all of her kids every once in a while. Um, Not every time. Every once in a while, he would come and get my kids and take them along or whatever. But that's when I was like, you know what? He gave us $50 one time after Sean got laid off, and we was like, we really could use your help. He was like, "Oh yeah, man, anything I can do. $50, here you go," and that was it. And after a few months, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have to set him up this day. So I did, but that never really went anywhere. I mean, I think he's like 15K behind or something ridiculous. Probably more than that. The last time I checked was like last year, and it was like 13K or something. Um, I don't want that truck just saying, yeah. I never see jail for money. Now there were times where he was getting letters saying that they were going to garnish his wages if he didn't. That they were going to garnish. No, 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 no. There were times he got letters saying that they were going to suspend his license if he didn't pay, and he would call me very upset, like, "I can't work if my license is suspended," because he was a truck driver. So I actually went and dropped it. He was like 2,000. He was like $2,000 behind, and he got like a letter saying, if you don't pay, we're going to suspend your license. And he was like, oh my God, they're going to suspend my license. Can you call and drop what I'm behind and I'll start paying? So I actually dropped his arrears like 2 or 3 times because I didn't want him to lose his license. Because I'm like, well, if he loses his license, he can't work, and then there's absolutely no chance that he'll pay me child support. But then I finally realized I'm just gonna keep dropping it, and he's still not gonna pay, So, but yeah, our custody, our child support offices here, like, really don't care. Like, you're not. They were saying they were gonna suspend his license, but even to this day, they still never have, and I quit dropping it. He actually lost the truck and the house, so he was doing really good at one point, and then he got in a really bad position, and he lost the truck and the house. So, but yeah, Sugar Bear's in the next one. What, really? So last time I talked to a source very close to Sugar Bear was months ago, and said that Sugar Bear had not been in any of the episodes yet and had not been contacted. Girl, dog, don't even begin to explain it. I mean, I try to get along with him. That's my kid's father, but, you know, I always be the bigger person because I want my kids to see that mom and dad get along. And I've always put that above money as well. Like, oh, well, I'm not going to throw this big fit that he's not paying child support because I don't want my kids seeing that we're not getting along and it's over money. Like, we'll figure it out. Me and Sean will figure it out. I don't have to have his money. I mean, literally, when Sean got laid off, we lived for like a year on the money that we had saved. And like, I remember my dad like buying diapers and milk for us. Thankfully, we've come back up from that. But yeah. Other states suspend license if they don't pay. They don't have to pay at all, but have to make a good faith effort to put him on child support if he goes to jail. We went before the judge one time, and the judge was like, "What are you doing? Why aren't you paying?" And sob story. I just don't have a job. I'm trying to get on my feet. And the judge was like, "Okay, no big deal." Now the judge where I live was really good friends with his parents. So my older 2 kids, their dad knows the judge, like knows him firsthand because his parents were such good friends with him. So anything that I tried to do over here on this side when it came to him wasn't gonna happen. Because I remember one time we were before the judge and my ex was like, "You know me, Judge. You know me." Of course, he called him by his first name. "You know me, so is it?" And he's like, "I know." He's like, "You've known me since I was this little." He's like, I know." And I'm like, isn't this like a conflict of interest? You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, when you're young, sometimes you just pick the wrong guys to have babies with. And I'm just very thankful for Sean because Sean worked really hard in the oil field to make sure that me and Paris and me and my kids could continue having a decent life. But I can't wait for next week because I feel like next week is when June's going to find out about this child support. And obviously, Sugar Bear is going to be on next week. According to the chat, Sugar Bear is going to be on next week. I didn't see that. But one thing that Louisiana will do is if they're behind on child support when they file their taxes, they will send you their taxes. But not if they quit filing the taxes. Yes, Running Gray Wolf. Yes, he should have, but he did not. He didn't. So we only have one judge here, like in our town. We only have one judge, but still, he could have brought in a judge from like our neighboring parish because they do that at times. They do that because we only have one judge here. They have done that before. They'll bring in a judge from our neighboring parish, but that didn't happen. That's actually what they're doing right now because our judge retired. So now if you have anything going on in court, it's by Zoom, and it's so weird. It's like everything is by Zoom because it's by the judge in our neighboring parish. $35 years ago, my ex had to pay only $35. Yes, Sean's the best. Which 35, how long ago was that? 35 years ago? You guys, 35 years ago, how much was a gallon of gas? Do you guys remember? I'm 36, and I remember gas being like $1 a gallon. We'll never see that again. I need an electric car. Y'all, my new car though, the new car that I just bought has to have the expensive gas. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that this my dream car had to have the most expensive gas. But it's my dream car, so Sean's an awesome guy. Live in a village. Actually, I actually live in a village too. It was literally called the Village of. But anyways, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna get off this one. I wanted to go ahead and put that recap out there. If you guys are following the Marvin McCray story, I'm actually gonna come back in about 15 minutes. I just put up a video about that story. It's a really heartbreaking story. Heartbreaking for Vaughn. Heartbreaking for the children. And I think this story needs to be out there as much as possible. I put up this video to explain, give a rundown of what happened. So if you guys have no idea about the story and you want to know about it, you can go watch my video that I uploaded last night. I actually premiered it last night at like midnight. You guys, I've been working for days on this story. So much time and energy into reading, watching every video that I could to get caught up because there's so much going on with the story that to know when it was first introduced to me, when this story about Marvin McCray was first introduced to me, I was confused. I'm like, wait, what? Like, there's so much. Like, what is this? What is that? And I, after hearing some of it, I was like, okay, I got to do this. Like, I got to cover this. He's a Marine. I feel like he was living a life in prison in his own home. I need to cover this. So I really committed to finding out as much information as I could, but it took me several days. So what I did is I put up a video for anyone that wants to figure out what's going on, that doesn't have days to research, to read comments, to read Facebook posts, and to watch all these videos, could watch my one video and get the majority of what's happened. So now they can keep up with the story moving forward. I will absolutely check my messages. So you guys, I'm going to come back in about 15 or 20 minutes. And what we're going to do when I come back is I just want to show you guys some videos of Dre in the hospital. Certain things has been happening that is up on some of the Facebook pages that's covering this story. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk about that. So you guys, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. If you want to keep up with the Marvin McCray story, please join me back here in a few minutes. Go watch that video if you haven't yet so you can get caught up because this is a very important story. If you guys don't mind, give this video a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And until next time, you guys, thumbs up. Don't forget thumbs up. Those really help. Watching on replay, let me your thoughts about the episode. And yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And I will see you guys in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.